Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is lesson 365. All right, the title of today's lesson is 5 Overlooked English Grammar Mistakes. Yeah, I corrected a lot of papers in my time as a teacher, and very often, there's many grammar mistakes, and there's a lot more than just these. But these are ones that you kind of surprise you that students sometimes made, and they just missed it. So these are common ones that appear. Now, perhaps each student, you may know some of these not to do this, but I don't know if you know all 5. And there's actually 2 of them here that native speakers I've often caught sometimes make as well. So let's look at the first one. First one is never leave a grammatical mark at the beginning of a line, such as a comma, question mark, period, quotation marks, etc. Native speaker won't do this. He'll instinctively know that you should not do this. But I have corrected a lot of papers with students of ESL where they did do this. They didn't realize this. So here is the first example. I need to bring a lot of things for my trip, such as a bathing suit. And you see, in this case, they actually put the comma here at the beginning of the line. You never do that. You must put it right at the end here of the other line. And if it really can't fit, like if you were typing it out and it didn't have enough space, you have to move the whole word. You'd have to move the word bathing suit to the front here and move everything over. That's what you have to do. So you can't put something like this, a comma here, or a question mark, or a period. You just can't leave it at the beginning of the line. If you can't fit it at the end, you have to move a whole word over. Can't leave a grammatical mark at the beginning of a line. Okay, again, native speakers wouldn't do this, but I have many students of ESL I've corrected over the years that have done this. All right, let's look at number 2. This one I actually did a video on by itself, but it's worth repeating here. This is a common one, and this is one that native speakers I have caught doing. They never begin a sentence with a number. Okay, I remember when I first started looking at it, instinctively I said, well, that doesn't seem right. So I had to look it up and check it out. And in fact, it is a rule. It's a grammar rule. You're not supposed to put a number as the first word in a sentence. So here with the X, this is wrong. So you can put the word for the number, but you can't put the number. So with the X here, 10 years from now, it won't matter. So the way to, now if it's a small number, it's easy to correct. You just write the word for it. So 10 here, 10 is a very short word, no problem. Just substitute the word 10, and this is okay. Now, if the number is later in the sentence, doesn't matter. You can write the number, but not the first word in the sentence. All right, here's a second example that's not as easy because it's a big number, like 520,284 cases of robbery were reported in that city. All right, that's a really big number. You don't want to write out that whole number. You don't want to write 520,200. Yeah. So in this case, it's the easier thing to do is to reword the sentence if you can. So that's why here with the check, that's what we did. In that city, there were 5,284 cases of robbery. So just reword the sentence so that the number doesn't begin at it's not the first word in the sentence. All right, so that's how you solve that problem. This is one that I have seen native speakers write articles, and they actually made this mistake and they didn't catch it. All right, number 3. Nowadays always takes an S at the end. Yeah, native speaker probably wouldn't do that. But I'm surprised at how many times I've corrected papers with students of ESL. They just simply forgot the S at the end, and they just say nowadays. So that's never right. So again, here with the X, this is wrong. So nowadays, it is considered to be politically incorrect to say that. Now, of course, you have to say with the check here, nowadays, with an S at the end. So don't forget that. That's a simple one. Number 4 here. Avoid using the pronoun I first when describing that you and another person did something. It is considered impolite. Now, this one, some people argue about that it may technically not be grammatically incorrect, but most native speakers don't do it. It is considered impolite, and it sounds awkward when you do it. So let's look at some examples. I have the X wrong. I and mom are going to a movie later. Yeah, most native speakers will never say that. They will say the one with the check here. Mom and I are going to the movie. So you always put yourself second. Never put yourself first, as a pronoun. Okay, and number 5 here. Standalone letters should be capitalized. Okay. Yeah, this is one that sometimes I've seen native speakers make a mistake on. I have a black t-shirt. Yeah, sometimes I've seen it written out, articles written by native speakers, and they use a small t. You're not supposed to use a small t as a standalone letter. It has to be a capital T with t-shirt. That's why I in English is always capitalized too. It's a standalone letter. So you can't say I, the pronoun I is a small I. It always has to be capitalized. It follows this same rule. Okay. She got an A on her test. Yeah, here you have to do it because it would be confusing. She got a on her test, so you have to write the capital A like a grade. In this case, you absolutely must capitalize that. Or X-ray would be another one. I've sometimes seen native speakers write it, and of course, students of ESL make the same mistake, where they'll write with a small x. The x must be big in X-ray as well. Okay, anyway, of course, there's a lot more mistakes out than this that students make, and maybe in the future I'll add some of those, but this is enough for this lesson. Anyway, I hope you got it. I hope it was informative. Hope it was helpful. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.